What's going on, high yield dividend warriors? It is that time of the month again. No, not that time of the month. It's the time of the month where we talk about the portfolio and how it's doing. I have basically nothing but good news to report here. The portfolio just continues to reach all-time new highs. It's like every single time I open up my Fidelity portfolio, it's at a brand new all-time high. Like, the key is to just keep opening up the app and just watching the numbers go up. No, but in all seriousness, guys, it has been a great past couple months for the stock market. Hopefully you too are hitting all-time new highs for your portfolio. If not, you really have to ask yourself, am I doing something wrong? Because there is absolutely no reason why we should be losing money in this environment. So let's talk a little bit about the portfolio, guys. So I'm now up to $273,000. It is absolutely insane. It's been an absolute bullet train lately. The cow pounding is really starting to show here. Not something that just happened overnight, though. Of course, every single week I add money into my portfolio. I buy great, high-quality stocks and ETFs. That's what allows for me to just set it and forget it. At this point, the portfolio is basically on autopilot. It's an army of dollar bills that are going to work for me. That's what's happening. That's what allows me to go work my 9 to 5, go enjoy life, and my portfolio is still working hard even when I'm sleeping. But I buy great companies, and I don't just invest in hype, and I leave the emotions out of investing. So it really makes you wonder, guys, can I hit $300,000 by the end of this year? So we're going to have about like 4 months left, and I'd have to hit about another $27,000. I don't like my odds, but I'm going to be optimistic. I think I can hit $300,000 by the end of the year. It depends on how much money I can keep contributing, but also how great the companies that I pick are doing in the market. And of course, there's always going to be macroeconomic factors like what's going on in the news that will impact it as well. All right, so this is a pretty cool summary that Fidelity offers. I actually just found this out. It's under the performance tab of Fidelity. And this just gives a really good summary of what's been happening in the year, right? So when we started off the year, my portfolio was only at $219,000. So it has really grown over $50,000 in 1 year. Now, of course, a lot of that was also my money, but of course, the market is doing its thing. It's cow pounding and it's growing. It's appreciating in value. And of course, I'm getting a lot of money in dividends as well. So it's grown from $219,000 and it went up to $224,000. And then, of course, we had all that tariff talk in the month of March, April. And the portfolio actually went down a lot. This is when a lot of investors, they just sold out of positions because they couldn't bear the market going down. This is what a lot of institutions did. They couldn't give their clients a red portfolio. So this is where a smart individual investor can actually get an edge on Wall Street. You see, a lot of these big hedge funds, these big institutions, they actually have a lot of clients and customers that they are managing money for. And in that world, everything is short-term in nature, right? They only care about what are you going to do for me this year in the short term, 6 months. And that's why these big institutions that control a lot of money, they have to see immediate results. And that often means that they're going to be jumping in and out of trades. And because nobody can time the market, that actually leads to less overall returns than a passive S&P 500 index, which is just buying and holding. And this is where the individual investor can get the edge, because when the markets went down as much as they did in March and April, I was buying, I was backing up the truck and buying great companies, buying great ETFs because they were at a significant discount. I knew all this tariff stuff was just short-term in nature. And of course, this tariff stuff still is not resolved, and we might still see more big blimps in the stock market. And it's good, my reaction is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to be putting even more money into the markets and buying up great companies. But that's the key, guys. You can't just buy anything. You need to buy great companies, ETFs that can wither any sort of environment, any sort of storm, and to be a real man's investor. Also, just a side note, ignore the dividends column here. This is gonna be giving like interest that you get on unused cash in Fidelity. It also doesn't factor in the cutoffs of dividends, so sometimes if it pays on the 30th of a month or the 1st of a month, that might throw off the true timing of dividend. Don't factor in interest to my total dividend income. It's another form of passive income, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's dividends. Did I tell you guys that June was just just an amazing fire month for me. The market was up 5.09% for the month, but I was up 6.91%. That's a outperformance of nearly 2% in just 1 month. And this really helped me from a year-to-date perspective because earlier in the month I was actually trailing the overall market. But this has been a really hot summer, and I've now taken a pretty nice lead here, 7.5% for the year versus the market 6.2%. So an outperformance of about 1.3%, and definitely doing better than the Dow, which has been lagging both behind me and the S&P 500 this year. If you guys recall, I beat the stock market in 2023, I beat it in 2024, and I'm on pace to beat it again in 2025. That's going to be a three-peat, baby. Now, a lot of you are wondering, where is my full portfolio if I give it out for free here on YouTube? Well, the answer is that is just way too much proprietary info these days. I spent hours researching stocks, and you can see it pays off here when I continue to outpace the market. But luckily for you, I do post all my weekly trades, and you can have full access to my $270,000 plus portfolio on the Patreon link below. I mean, for a super low price, guys, compared to what these big institutions, I think it's a bargain, but it's up to you guys. It's also a way to just support a small-time YouTuber, but I definitely give a lot of free gems here on YouTube as well, so don't think that you need to be a Patreon supporter to support the channel. I also did want to share that I do a fair amount of options trading on the side as well. This is very similar to what the covered calls are doing, but I'm just taking it into my own hands. Now, of course, one big advantage of the covered call ETFs is that it's all automated and you can pool all the money together because it costs a lot of money to do options trading or selling covered calls on your own. But I do have a lot of shares of Nvidia. Nvidia is just a gift that continues to keep on giving. I've now won on my last 121 covered call contracts on Nvidia, and I've made well over $1,000. It's been honestly amazing. It's a way to just get passive income. Now every single week, get an extra $30, $40. And I'm getting close to getting other companies and ETFs to 100 shares, and I'm gonna be able to do covered calls on them as well. All right, now for what you guys really care about the most, the dividends that I made this summer. So it's been, again, guys, it's been a super hot summer for me. I just made the most dividends I've ever made in a single month. I made $549 in the month of June. That is a huge, over 20% plus increase since last June when I only made $422. June was a serious record breaker. I had 37 different companies and ETFs pay me cash money, baby, for doing absolutely nothing. If these businesses continue to dominate like they are today, I'm gonna be collecting these checks for decades. Even well into retirement, these companies will pay me for doing absolutely no work. This is the best feeling, to just know that you have money coming in around the clock. It is absolutely the lazy man's income path to get rich. I also made well over $100 in interest. I don't count that as dividend income, but I do have a lot of uninvested cash these days. I know, such a terrible problem to have, right? If you notice this big $16,000 in deposits that I had in the month of May, let's just say I had a lot of cash in my checking account because, I recently started a new job and they paid me a pretty juicy signing bonus. Rather than just leaving it in my bank account where it was getting absolutely no interest, I moved it to Fidelity, where you can get around a 4% interest rate these days. Now, I know a lot of you guys are gonna be saying,
oh my gosh, you only make $4,000 a year in dividend income on a nearly $300,000 portfolio?
Well, here's my answer to that. I do not chase yield. I invest in growth first, and really the dividends for me is just gravy, right? I'm still at a young enough age where I am chasing growth companies that are constantly reinvesting any profits, not to me, but back into the business. This is the best way for them to grow and grow in capital appreciation. And that's actually why I've been able to outpace the market these last couple of years, is that I find great high quality companies rather than just filtering to the highest dividend yield and buying that ETF. Like a lot of people seem to sadly be doing these days, but that is going to end in quite the mess because there's so many other fundamentals you need to look at rather than just what company is paying you the highest yields. I would not have anywhere near a $300,000 portfolio if I had just been buying the highest yielding dividend stocks when I started investing. And at the end of the day, once I reach my target portfolio value, then I have the option to always just convert that into higher yielding dividend stocks if I so desire. But right now, I have a great job, make good money. I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing and set it on autopilot and just keep enjoying life. So let me know how this summer's been for you guys. I'd love to hear how your dividend investing journey is going in the comments below. If you guys ever have any questions or just want to talk, be sure to join the Discord. I'm in there all the time and you can have a direct conversation with me and so many other great investors. All right, guys, I'm going to keep making more cynical, condescending videos toward the high yield dividend warriors all summer long, baby. I'm not going to be stopping. Hope you enjoy it. Catch you on the next one.
It's going to look like my Robin Hood here. You have a joint account deficit because your account is in deficit. You won't be able to open new position until you cover your balance. There you go. This is great